How's it going, YouTube? It's Captain, and in this video I'll teach you guys how to do Silk Road Classic as requested. So, one of the tougher courses in the game, really brutal par 5s, tough terrains, tough fairways to deal with sometimes. But yeah, let's just get into it. So, for season, as usual, I would either go with spring or fall. It's really just preference, whatever soundtrack you feel helps you focus. Both of these are pretty similar. Fall and spring are pretty similar, but I slightly prefer falls. I'm not really sure how different the weather is, maybe a little windier, but I don't really notice it, to be honest. And for this course, I would choose Jack with a big air club and a straight ball. You'll need spin in this course. Almost certainly you'll need spin, and even though you can choose characters like Louise, she doesn't have the spin, the side spin especially, that Jack has, so I would always stick to Jack. Or maybe T-Bone. T-Bone's also a good choice for this course. And yeah, regular T. We'll go with a random caddy. And yeah, let's just start this off. So, oh, I got a notification there. So the first hole, you have this huge fairway in front of you. You have a lot of options here, actually. You can even, if you really wanted, you can actually use like an iron here. You can go like 176, 188. It doesn't really make a difference. It just makes your second shot a longer shot and reduces the risk of getting into this sand trap over here. Even though your second shot is closer, that just means the wind is going to eat up your shot a little more. Your second shot at least. And that's not really that great. You don't really want to deal with wind too much. It's just the first hole. Like, let's just try going with an iron here. I'll go with a 5-iron. You don't have to use a power shot, you don't have to use a driver or a woods. Like, this is enough. 150 yards, that's great. And now we have an interesting ball lie going a bit to the right. The wind is moving forward and the pin is up 2 yards, so the wind is going to help us go forward. And yeah, this club isn't going to go too high. Like, look beside the ball, on the right side of the ball in the bottom right corner, there's this blue indicator showing how high your shot's going to go. And you see this club I'm using right now, and compare that to what we would have used if we were closer to the pin. See how that changes? The fact that that's more leaning towards the bottom half of that graph means that it's just going to go higher. So I don't want to go too high to get on that green. I'm going to use backspin here because the pin's in a decent place. It's like in the middle of the green. So I'll just use backspin here and go 1 notch off of max power. And that's around 2, maybe 1.5, 1.6-ish columns to the left. And yeah, with super backspin. As you see, I did there, I reduced my power mid-shot. You can do that by pressing circle on impact. Wow, that was actually pretty close. So if you don't like your power level, you shoot 1 notch farther than you wanted. On the power meter, you can press circle instead of X when you're setting impact, and that'll fix it. And the same goes for triangle for the opposite. And this par 3 sucks with this wind right now. This is 7, I believe, to the right, up and to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll go like 5.5 columns left, maybe like 6, because it's gonna bounce higher because of how low the green is. See, it says 11 yards. And no, like maybe, no, I think 4, 1, 2, 3, like 4.5 to 5 columns should do it for that much. And I'm gonna undershoot this like 10-ish yards. So Yeah, I messed up the super backspin.
Not bad for an organic life form.
It's not too bad, I think.
Disaster.
Never mind. Yeah, that sand trap can get you, but you can always recover. This meter goes a lot faster than the normal one, so be ready for that. Another tactic you can do to like get used to the impact is also to like press beside your button so it doesn't register, like a practice shot like you would do in real golf. Like X, press the controller, but not the button. Like, if you know what I mean, just beside the button, so you don't actually press X, but you're like pretending to, so you get the timing, the feel for the timing. 59 to 100% power, that's not great. I would recommend going full power here, or as close to it as you can. Yeah, see, that training worked. I got the feel for it.
You got sand in my gears. Stay focused.
That's alright. I'll take it part.
Your performance is satisfactory.
You're gonna mess up that impact, and as you saw there, it's hard to recover from, for sure. Mistakes are inevitable, just remember that. Hole 3, you have another long fairway with many options here. You can go as far back to here if you wanted to, and use a really long club on your second shot. But what I would recommend is you go somewhere either here or here. It's up to you entirely. For this case, there's a lot of wind, so I don't want to deal with that too much. I'll go with the 235 at the fairway there.
Not bad for
And the
organic
slope
life
is
form.
gonna slow down my shot pretty quickly. Yeah. 243. That tree is a problem, but since the wind is facing left, it'll take care of that for me. So 5 meters up and to the left with 5 degrees upslope on the ball line. So that's about that far right? 3-4 columns right? Or maybe more, maybe a bit more. And that's 6 yards up above the pin. It's not really 6 yards, it's a little less, it's a little misleading. So I'll go a little, I'll undershoot this one a little so the wind can take care of my
The
shot.
ball has an optimal trajectory. Fascinating.
That is really good.
I admit it. I am impressed.
So yeah, see that,
Think about it, just
that's
saying.
6.1 or whatever it was. That's kind of misleading. Don't pay attention to that. Really, it's just, I guess it's more like up 2 yards, maybe 1. I don't know exactly, but it's not like that. Hole 4 is tricky, because sometimes you'll get nice wind, which I'm not going up against here. This is terrible wind. I hate this wind. This wind alone is making this a much harder option. I could try super backspin to get onto this part of the fairway, but like, look, there's barely any room for me to land. And there's trees everywhere. There's a tree here, there's a tree here, tree there. There's 3 trees here I could possibly hit. So in this case, the wind is coming towards me directly. I'll just take the safer route and avoid all those obstacles and go here. I'm not even going to go to max power, because if I do, I'm going to be near the rough. So I'm going to go like a few notches below max. That'll cut down 20-30 yards, which I want, and get me a good angle on my second shot, so let's just do that. That's pretty good, that's what I wanted. Don't worry if Clank doesn't say nice shot, or your caddy doesn't say nice shot, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're on the fairway. Now you're here. Ball line, you can work with it. And here I'm not going to do backspin, because I don't want to waste time calculating and things like that. You can, but I would prefer to do a normal shot, because you have the room in front of the pin. So I'd say go about here. You hit the ball, it's gonna break, it's gonna fly right, but then the wind is going to carry it a little bit to the left. I'll aim a little bit left because I feel like the lie is going to take care of the shot more than the wind because of, again, the blue indicator beside the ball. So about here. And as for the 5 yards down, I'm just gonna do... Oh no, I was going for max power. So max power with that. Yeah, that's about what you want.
Yikes, error.
And yeah, again, sand trap. That's a shame. But there is one there, unfortunately. I got nervous there. I don't know why I got nervous.
Disasters.
Sometimes I'll just like completely miss the button. Or my thumb really gets the jitters sometimes. Like I'll put my thumb above the button but not on it for some reason.
You got sand in my
I don't, it's really weird. But recovering from sand is a little tough. So what I should have done there is done the technique I used on hole 2, where I pressed beside the button as like a practice shot. Hole 5, I actually got really lucky with this wind here. You've got, again, a long fairway, but you really should only be using the second half of it. Like, you don't want to be using an iron here, because that makes getting on the green near impossible. So what I recommend is to use the 3 woods or the driver. And since the wind is facing me, I can use the driver. I'll undershoot a little bit so I won't go max power, and I'll let the wind bring me back a little bit, because the ball's going to bounce quite a bit, because the tee is obviously way higher than the fairway. So 2 notches below max power, 3 meters of wind to bring me back, 99% control, or whatever that's called. And even then I'm in the rough, so I guess you need a little more, or a little less power. Even here I can recover my power, but look how tight the impact is. You're gonna have to be really careful with that. And I somehow managed.
Not bad for an organic life form.
I calculated all that really quickly. I kind of eyeballed it, to be honest.
You are improving.
Because
I cannot bear.
calculating from the rough is kind of
Increase the
useless.
velocity of your swing.
Because no matter what, the percentage is going to determine your shot. So what I did there was I aimed for the general direction of the pin, and it did work. I got on the green, so now I just have to put it in. One of the main reasons I don't like this course is the rough is brutal here sometimes. The fairways will just roll you right onto the rough. Even though I was 2 notches below max power, that should have brought me down like 10-20 yards. I had 99% power because of, I think it's randomly generated, I'm not sure exactly. So that's 3 yards cut down further, and then 3 meters headwind, so the wind was facing me, which should have decreased the distance of the shot, and it somehow still managed to hit 281 yards. Best case scenario would have been I hit it 3 notches below max power, or 4 perhaps, because 2 didn't do it, so I guess 3 or 4 will do better in that scenario. Sometimes the wind on that shot can be not as helpful as it was for me. And here I would go around 43 feet.
Stay on target.
And yeah, nice putt.
The caddy deserves credit for that one.
It said 0.81 feet up, so I went about 8 feet up. Because if it says 0.8, you'll want to overshoot by 8. So whatever you see above the pin or the hole when you're doing your putt, multiply that by 10 and then undershoot or overshoot, depending on if it's downhill or uphill. It's pretty easy to remember. And for here, don't use max power. It's not going to help you. Like 3 notches below max power and still like almost 280. So yeah, these fairways I just don't like at all. They'll just roll your shot wherever you don't want it to roll. And now here I have this really disgustingly placed tree. Like, what? what am I gonna do about that? If I do backspin, it's gonna fly right into that. Or if it doesn't, I'll get really lucky. Let's give that a try actually. So here, 5 meters wind directly at me. And since the ball is rolling 5 degrees downhill, the wind isn't gonna affect it too much. So it's about, I have to overshoot this by 8 yards-ish. And then the 0.9 yards downwards. So yeah, okay, let's try super backspin. Where does this lead me? Just over. I got a little lucky there. I guess it is possible, but
I could make that shot.
you could also use side spin to get around that tree. This is another reason why I prefer Jack over Ratchet. It's because his shots go higher. You can tell by the arrows when you're selecting your character. Notice how Ratchet has a green arrow and Jack has a red one with an H beside it, just stands for high. On that hole, I would actually rather go... You could go with the 247, you could go with the 3 woods instead of the driver. That would be a wise decision as well. Alright, here, this one is a bit scary. Because if you go for backspin and you overshoot, it could go out of bounds. Like you see there, you don't have much room to get the ball behind the pin and roll it backwards because the fringe is there, the rough is there, and the out of bounds is right there. You probably don't want to do that, so I would just go with slight backspin, meaning don't press anything on power but press down on impact on the D-pad. So leave your D-pad alone until impact and then press down on impact. Like usually press up on power for backspin, but here just don't press anything on power. And okay, calculation time. So 3 degrees uphill, that means the wind is gonna take care of this shot more than ball I will. Okay, noted. 2 yards up on the pin. Alright, noted. 95 to 97%. So if I get 97 and 1% of 222 yards is 2.22. So that's like 7 yards below. So if I hit it max power and get 97%, it'll be like 215 instead of 209. So I guess I'll go with max power because that's the most I can get. I'll go with max power. And is my... That looks good, right? Yeah. Yeah. And I messed up the backspin, so it's alright.
Not bad. The ball has an optimal trajectory.
And not a bad shot.
You are improving. Remember what I taught you.
I estimated only... Like... I thought I was getting 97%, but I got 95. And even though the ball flew shorter than I wanted, it still made it on the green. And that's what's important, so it's fine. And side note, if you miss perfect impact like I did, then only the second half of the percents possible is gonna happen. Like notice how it says 96, 97 here on the bottom corner, and 95, 97 here. So if I get perfect impact on this, it's gonna be 97% guaranteed, like no doubt. But here, it's either gonna be 96 or 97 if I hit perfect impact. If I don't, if I hit it in the pink space beside perfect impact, it could also be 95%. So it's essentially a 1 in 3 chance at that point. 2 options here. Actually, just your only real concern is this thing right here, this water hazard. So you can go short, you can go long, you can go around, which I haven't really tried actually. I'll try going long, let's see how that works. But then if I go long, I'll have to compensate for wind more, so I don't want to do that. I'll play a little short with a 188, and let's see what happens.
Good
Let's see how far this rolls. I don't know if it's gonna roll that far. Yeah, only like 15 yards of rolling. 200-yard drive, 200 yards to go. Nice. And here, I'll try backspin here, because I'm probably not going to overshoot this thanks to the rain. 3 degrees downhill, so the wind isn't going to affect this that much, so I'll go a little more right than usual. But then there's also 10 yards down on the pin, so I'll go a little left. I'll use the 200. I'll go max power. So my power is going to be at 194 if I hit it at max. The rain is definitely going to affect the shot, so I have to account for it. So I'll go max power with super backspin. Let's see how it goes. Man, I'm too shaky today. Too shaky.
Not bad for an organic like right on target.
I don't know. I have shaky days very often.
I could make
Like,
that
it's
shot.
just a button press. It's nothing to be scared of. What am I thinking? And the 95% power on the putt shouldn't affect it too bad. So don't worry too much about that. And hole 9. This hole's... there's not much to it except for this tree and the sand trap. So here I've got... I'm gonna say... yeah, that's definitely 5 wins, so... about 5 columns to the right, 5 grid lines to the right, compensating for rain, so 3% off 188. That's gonna cut me down a few yards. Without doing the math, I'll estimate like a few yards, because I'm not gonna break out the calculator every time. I would aim around the flag in this situation, because there's also that 18 yards down over the pin that it said on the top of the screen. And as you can see, if you mess up the backspin, the wind is only gonna affect your shot like half as much as it would have. So keep that in mind as well. And the rain finally stopped. So wow, that second half of that first half was a lot better than the first part of it. You've got 2 options here. You can go here and... but from this position, you would have to use your driver to do a super topspin shot through this waterfall cave and onto the green. I really don't recommend that. I've only seen one person get a double eagle here in a round, so you're gonna want to go here, or not here, here, onto this fairway, so that with jack side spin you can spin right around that rock mountain thing and get yourself on the green. And in this case the wind is actually really good because it's actually pushing me that way already. Going here is a no-go unless you're okay with either doing a skull shot, which is down on power, down on impact, or you're okay with a birdie here. Like, that's... depends on what you're going for. Compensating for wind, because if I aim here, the ball is going to go here as the result of that wind going to the east. So I want to go here so the ball flies over to the east by itself and lands here. So like that. With backspin. So it flies farther. And actually, that flew a lot farther right than I thought. So now I'm in a pickle here. I don't know what to do really. I can't even really skull shot. Because if I skull shot, I'll still hit that rock. So my only real option is to side spin and just hope it works. I have to use a power shot here. And there we go, we got super side spin.
Extraordinary.
Still hit the rock. I really don't like this hole. At this point, I'm just trying to recover.
You got sand in my gears.
And after all that struggle, that's still a par.
I detect a slight slope to the
So, not terrible, I guess.
bad.
Here, you've got 2 islands to land on. I just chose the safer one. you probably, yeah, so this is the tee. This one, you probably don't want to use. It's got to be this one, the one with the trees on it. That's the one you want to land on. So no trees in my way. And if you aim for this island, it's not really much of a benefit from this island. Like, you're not gaining anything, except for maybe a better ball lie, because it's more flat. That could help. This is not much worse though, so don't worry about it too much. And 7 degrees uphill, so a little far to the right, 2 columns about. And let's do it. Yeah, this island I've landed on is the best one. For sure. That's really close. Holy cow.
Extraordinary goal. My calculations were correct.
0.9 feet. Okay.
I could make that
We're
shot.
picking it up from hole 10. And there I went with backspin because the green is huge. And I have a lot of room behind the cup to make my backspin work. Hole 12, I got a bad hole placement here. A lot of trees in your way that can ruin your day. If you go for a normal shot and you get this cup position, you'll most likely end in the sand trap. So what you want to go for is backspin. Backspin is my go-to for this hole placement. So this wind is about 4 to the left. So I'll go about 4 columns to the right to cancel that out. And I'll go, because it says up 9 yards, but I don't think it's that much. I'll go 7 yards above the flag on my meter. So 153 is 7 more than the 146, so that's how I compensate for the 9 yards, the 9.3. Oh, that was 5 meters.
Not bad for an organic life form.
I didn't see that. And still a really good shot, but
I could make that
now I
shot.
got a tough putt to deal with.
I detect a slight slope to the left.
A slight slope. That's not slight to me. I mean, the ball won't roll too much, so I won't over adjust. About there should be fine. Yeah. Don't overdo it, because you might overshoot and go past the hole, which you don't want. Hole 13. This one, you've got 2 choices. You've got this high island, which I usually never take. I'd much rather go here, because it may not look it, but your ball can roll like 50 more yards. Like, let me see where my best drive is. On here. My best drive on this hole. Oh, there it is. So yeah, right about there. I guess it's completely flat when you're looking at it top down. Anyway, yeah, just use your side spin. Even if you don't hit perfect impact, Jack has pretty good side spin,
Not bad
with or
for an
without it.
organic life form.
And the wind is nice there, 4 meters towards me. And yeah, 315 yards with 291 yards of power on my club. Here I'll go with a regular shot, even though I don't have much room in front of the club, or in front of the cup. But because the 94 yard is like the club with the highest trajectory on your shots, I guess, I'll just go with a regular shot. 6 yards downwards on the elevation and 4 yards directly at me.
I admit it.
Wow.
I am I could make that shot.
Yeah, I just went around where the flag was on the meter. Hole 14, the second worst hole of the course. I might have another meltdown here actually. So yeah, this hole is pretty difficult. On your drive, you would typically want to go with your driver, not any other club. You want to go the full distance you can. And I'll compensate for wind, because it's going slightly right. And I don't want to head into the sand trap, so
Organic life form.
I'll go a little left. Perfectly in the center. Now is the hard part. This really nicely placed mountain is like the biggest obstacle of this hole by far. So what you want to do is still compensate for your wind here, but like look how I was trying to do it with this camera. Like the mountain is blocking me from really seeing anything. So what you would rather do is press start and get your top down view like this. Much better view. And here I have 8 degrees upwards as my slope, so I'll go a little farther to the left than usual and undershoot for that 5.2 yards you can see above the pin, and let's do it. Let's see if it'll go over the trees. Yeah, way over. So that's your better option.
A minor miscalculation.
And yeah, it went on the fringe, that's okay though. Perfect ball lie and everything. I can actually putt this in. Fun fact, you can putt from the fringe. So I guess that means that the 5.2 yards is really non-existent. So yeah, just for this putt, compensate like you normally would. Just keep the 0.53 feet in mind, and there you go.
2 under par, I am impressed.
We actually got an eagle here, that's great. With wind pointing to the right, you can go over the trees with a slope like I got there, which is 8 degrees up. 15, you've got a water hazard here, don't aim anywhere near it. You can aim there, which isn't that close to the water hazard, and you'll get you'll get these trees in your way, so you have to spin around those. Or you can go here the full distance using your power shot, and let's try that with some topspin. Sometimes a safe thing to do on your drives is to use topspin so that the wind won't push it as much. And that fairway rolls me right on, and I'm 66 yards away, so this shot's going to be pretty high. I can use backspin here, but I would much rather just do a normal shot. 4 meters of wind would push it 4 columns left, but since I'm not using backspin, it's more like 1.5. So I'll go about 1.5 to the right. The ball lie is not really a factor here. And 4 degrees down, that just means it's going to affect it a little less. And 2 yards down above the pin, so I'll go about where the flag is. Oh, I'm getting 100% here. Let's see how that goes.
You are highly proficient.
And yeah,
My calculations were correct.
that was a pretty good one.
Do not think about it, just swing.
So I guess that ball lie doesn't really matter there. If I hadn't paid attention to it, it would have been closer to the pin. Alright, 16. Step 1, don't go here. Don't try and get onto this island. It's even with the right wind, there's this bit of the fairway that'll just push you right back into the out of bounds. So you want to go here is pretty risky, but possible. But it's much better to go here with your 223 or 212. Let's try 212, because I don't want to overshoot stuff again. 2 meters to the left, so aim a little farther right. And that should be a really good ball lie. Yeah, that's virtually straight. That's almost straight. And 2 degrees up, so the wind is going to take care of this a little more. And 5 yards to the 5 yards up. So this should be good. Yeah, again, another shaky one. I should really...
Not bad. The ball has an optimal trajectory.
Sometimes I get shaky and I just miss the perfect impact.
Do not think about it, just swing.
But it's okay, it's unavoidable. I mean, you could try that practice thing I was talking about earlier, where you could pretend to do your shot before you do your shot. I actually see that now, that could work. because people do that in real golf too. They take a practice swing before they even do their actual swing. So I guess you can do that in this game to an extent. Here I have 5 wind, I think that is. So I'm gonna go about 3 or 4 columns to the right because I'm going like 20 yards down. So I'm gonna adjust for that 20 yards down as well. I missed the perfect impact, so that
Not bad for an organic light. Right on target.
it's a little less certain of where it's gonna go.
We should hang out more. You
But
do not think about it.
I got
just
some good
swing.
bounces there. So ball landed in a nice place there. Easy putt. Like actually, besides a few mistakes, this is pretty good.
Remember to wave to your fans.
And now I'm getting a monstrous 8 wind. I'm pretty sure that's 8. On this hole actually, you have 3 options here. You have 1, 2, and 3. Way back there, behind my cursor. There's a fairway there too. And in this case, I'll probably use that because the wind is right in my favor that way. You can also use this, but the tree's in your way. And with this, this is the best place to go if the wind is facing left or even like down. But it's aiming right, and in that case I would have to aim at the tree, which I don't want. So with this wind, this is my best bet. So I'll aim there. Finally perfect impact. 7 meters away. And that's gonna go really far. Wow. Is that my best drive? Look at that. And now I've still got tree problems, but I can side spin around them. The wind is 7 meters, the ball lie is not going to do too much. I'll aim about 1 column left, or less. Yeah, this should be good. Compensate for wind, so I would undershoot. Don't shoot at 71 yards. Wait, what? Yeah, I didn't go the full 71 yards there because the wind carries your shot a lot of the way. But that's very surprising actually. I don't think the wind pushed it enough. But yeah, as you can see, you can still hit that tree no matter where you go with that shot. And yeah, let's see if we can get this in. Perfect. Minus 17. That's a okay score actually. For me at least. Like, with that terrible hole 10 meltdown, I still got a 17. Like, that's pretty good. That is my walkthrough. Oh, and I won. Look at that. You can win with that type of round too. So I ended off better than I started, which is interesting. I might just leave a link in the description to a better hole 10. Actually, I can leave a link to my personal best, which has my hole 10. I think I do well in my personal best, so that should be good. This course is pretty tough, but it's holes like 10 and 14 that really demand your attention and patience and a lot of calculation. But as you saw, 14 worked out. We didn't hit the tree. We went around the mountain. Hole 10 didn't work because of a miscalculation on my part, because I didn't go far left enough. And as a result, I landed in the rough beside the fairway I wanted. So yeah, just aim farther left if you've got 5 wind to the right. So aim farther left for sure. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comment section. And thanks for watching.
Excellent. One more victory notch for my club. Want to play again?